Timothy Busfield's name, once synonymous with award-winning television performances, respected directing work, and decades of steady credibility in Hollywood, is now tied to one of the most disturbing criminal investigations involving a public figure in recent memory. For years, Busfield was seen as a dependable presence in the entertainment industry, admired for his professionalism and longevity. That carefully built image has now been shattered by allegations so serious that they have fundamentally changed how his career, reputation, and personal legacy will be remembered. What began quietly behind closed doors as a confidential inquiry has erupted into a national story that refuses to fade from public attention. The moment authorities raided his New York home, the situation escalated beyond rumor or speculation and into the realm of undeniable consequence. The allegations at the center of the investigation are not only shocking in nature, but deeply unsettling in their implications, particularly because they involve minors and alleged abuse of trust within a professional environment. The raid itself unfolded in dramatic fashion. In the early morning hours, law enforcement vehicles descended on Busfield's upstate New York property, breaking the silence of what is normally a peaceful and secluded area. Flashing lights illuminated the landscape as officers moved with urgency and precision. Agents approached the home with caution, breaching doors and conducting a thorough search of the residence, outbuildings, and surrounding property. Every movement signaled that this was not a symbolic gesture, but a serious and methodical operation tied to a major investigation. Neighbors later recounted the moment with disbelief, describing how they watched from a distance as officers swept through the property. Many said they had no idea what was happening at first, only that the presence of so many agents suggested something grave. Some reported feeling shaken, others stunned, as the reality set in that the home being searched belonged to a well-known actor whose face they recognized from television screens spanning several generations. For the public, the imagery was striking. The sight of federal authorities storming the home of a familiar Hollywood figure carried a powerful message. This was not a routine legal matter, and fame was offering no protection. It was a moment that instantly reframed the story, turning a respected actor into the subject of a serious criminal case under intense scrutiny. As the search continued, authorities made a critical discovery. Timothy Busfield was not there. Hours earlier, he had surrendered himself to police in New Mexico, where the investigation originated. That revelation added yet another layer of intensity to an already explosive situation. While agents searched his New York home, Busfield was already in custody, preparing to face charges that would soon dominate headlines and public conversation across the country. The fact that he surrendered voluntarily has been emphasized by his defense, but it did little to slow the momentum of the story. Instead, it underscored just how rapidly his circumstances had changed. One moment, he was living a relatively quiet life away from the spotlight. The next, he was at the center of a national scandal that questioned everything people thought they knew about him. The allegations against Busfield are severe and deeply troubling. Prosecutors accuse him of engaging in inappropriate and criminal behavior involving minors, specifically young boys he worked with while holding a position of authority on a television production. According to investigators, the alleged conduct was not isolated or accidental, but occurred over an extended period, involving repeated interactions that crossed clear ethical and legal boundaries. Authorities have described the allegations as a violation of trust, not only between an adult and children, but also within a professional environment where safety and responsibility are paramount. The charges include multiple counts related to sexual contact with a minor and child abuse, offenses that carry severe penalties and long-term consequences if proven in court. Investigators have been careful to emphasize that this case was not rushed or based on a single accusation. The inquiry reportedly began months earlier, quietly and methodically after concerns were raised by a medical professional. That initial report prompted further examination and eventually led to the involvement of child welfare specialists, detectives, and prosecutors. Interviews were conducted over time, records were reviewed, and evidence was collected step by step. By the time authorities sought an arrest warrant, they believed they had sufficient grounds to move forward. That decision marked a turning point, transforming a private investigation into a public legal battle with far-reaching implications. Once the warrant was issued, events unfolded rapidly, culminating in Busfield's surrender and the highly publicized raid of his New York home. For longtime fans, the news felt like a profound betrayal. Busfield had built his career over decades, earning respect not just for his performances, but for his reputation as a steady, principled professional. He often portrayed characters defined by integrity and moral conviction, roles that reinforced the public's perception of him as trustworthy and grounded. To many, the allegations felt impossible to reconcile with that image. Social media quickly filled with messages expressing shock, disbelief, and heartbreak. Some fans described feeling blindsided, while others struggled with the emotional conflict of reconciling admiration for his work with the seriousness of the accusations. For a generation that grew up watching him on screen, the story carried a particularly heavy emotional weight. Busfield has firmly denied all accusations. In a video message released just before he turned himself in, he appeared visibly emotional but resolute. He described the allegations as false and deeply painful, insisting that he has never harmed a child. He emphasized that his decision to surrender was voluntary and driven by a desire to face the accusations directly rather than avoid accountability. His attorneys have echoed that stance, stating that Busfield intends to fight the charges vigorously and clear his name. They have suggested that the allegations are the result of misunderstandings or ulterior motives, though prosecutors strongly dispute that characterization. The legal battle ahead is expected to be intense, with both sides preparing to challenge evidence and testimony. Prosecutors, meanwhile, have taken a firm and uncompromising position. In court filings and hearings, they have stressed the seriousness of the charges and the vulnerability of the alleged victims. They argue that Busfield's professional role gave him access to children in ways that demanded the highest level of responsibility and care. According to the prosecution, those responsibilities were allegedly violated in a way that warrants the full force of the law. During his initial court appearance, Busfield did not enter a plea. The judge ordered that he be held without bond, citing the gravity of the charges and concerns related to public safety. That decision sent a powerful signal about how seriously the court is treating the case. Legal analysts have noted that being held without bond is a significant measure, often reserved for cases involving severe allegations and potential risk. As public attention intensified, additional claims began to surface. Another individual has come forward with allegations dating back years earlier, describing an encounter that allegedly occurred when she was a teenager. While no formal charges have been filed in connection with that claim, prosecutors have acknowledged reviewing the information as part of a broader assessment. The emergence of these allegations has fueled speculation that the investigation could expand further. The entertainment industry has responded swiftly and cautiously. Studios and networks associated with Busfield have moved to distance themselves, confirming their cooperation with authorities and reevaluating projects connected to his work. Some content featuring him has reportedly been delayed, pulled, or reconsidered, reflecting an industry increasingly aware of its responsibility when allegations involve minors. Behind the scenes, the case has sparked renewed discussions about child safety on sets, power dynamics in entertainment, and the safeguards needed to protect young performers. Industry insiders say the situation has served as a sobering reminder of the importance of oversight, accountability, and transparency. Public reaction remains sharply divided. Many have expressed outrage and sorrow, focusing on the alleged victims and calling for justice. Others have urged restraint, emphasizing the importance of due process and the principle that allegations must be proven in court. The debate has played out across social media platforms, opinion columns, and television discussions, with emotions running high on all sides. Busfield's family has not been spared from the fallout. His wife, a well-known actress herself, has largely withdrawn from public view since the story broke. She has not issued formal statements and has stepped away from social media, a move many interpret as an effort to cope privately with an overwhelming situation. Those close to the family describe the period as devastating, marked by confusion, pain, and the strain of navigating an intensely public crisis.
Legal experts observing the case have pointed out that proceedings involving allegations of abuse are often long, complex, and emotionally draining. Such cases require careful handling of sensitive testimony, expert evaluations, and extensive evidence. Prosecutors face the challenge of proving their case beyond a reasonable doubt, while defense attorneys will scrutinize every detail, from timelines to credibility. The process can stretch on for months or even years. The image of law enforcement raiding Busfield's New York home has become one of the defining visuals of this case. For many, it symbolizes the collapse of a carefully cultivated public image and serves as a stark reminder that no one, regardless of fame or success, is beyond scrutiny. Neighbors have spoken about their disbelief, describing Busfield as quiet and private, someone they never suspected could be linked to such allegations. As the case continues, unanswered questions linger. What evidence will ultimately be presented in court? Will additional individuals come forward with new information? How will the defense respond as scrutiny intensifies? And what broader impact will this case have on conversations about power, trust, and accountability in the entertainment world? For now, Timothy Busfield remains in custody, awaiting further court hearings that will determine the next phase of this unfolding story. Each appearance is expected to draw intense attention, with every development closely watched by the public and the media alike. The outcome of this case could carry lasting consequences, not only for those directly involved, but for the industry and cultural conversations it continues to influence. This is a story that blends celebrity, crime, and deeply serious allegations, forcing uncomfortable questions into the spotlight. As the legal process unfolds and more details emerge, the world continues to watch, waiting to see how this dramatic and troubling chapter will ultimately be resolved. Make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more celebrity updates just like this.